Because we're just trying to fix mistakes in a proofreading passage, I don't start off by reading the questions. I start by reading the story. The reason why I want to start by reading the story in a proofreading passage is because sometimes while we're reading, we might notice something like, hey, something's wrong with that sentence. Maybe we notice something that they misspelled. We might notice something where maybe they forgot a comma or they forgot to capitalize. Or while we're reading, we might read a sentence and kind of think to ourselves, hey, that sentence doesn't really make sense. There's something wrong with it. If you do see a sentence like that or you hear a sentence like that while we're reading, then next to that sentence, put a little star or a dot or something. Because a lot of times, if you notice something wrong while you're reading, there's going to be a question asking you about that, about what's wrong with that sentence or how should I fix that sentence. And if you already noticed, hey, there's something wrong with it, then you'll have a head start on your questions already. We're going to read this story together, and then we're going to work on the questions together. So the story is called Kitchen Lessons. It was my mom's birthday, and my sister Chloe and I wanted to do something special. We decided to bake homemade cookies for her. First, we took turns measuring and pouring the ingredients into a large mixing bowl. When it was time to add the sugar, I grabbed a canister that was full of something white. It wasn't labeled, but I was sure it was sugar. In just a few minutes, the bowl was full of what looked like mouth-watering cookie dough. We didn't taste it because we wanted to have plenty of cookies for Mom. It would have been better if we had taken just one little bite. Instead, we shaped the dough into little balls, arranged them on a pan, and slid the pan into the oven. As the cookies baked, a wonderful smell filled the air. Ding! The kitchen timer chimed, and the cookies were done. We slid several piping hot cookies onto a plate. Grinning from ear to ear, we brought our gift to Mom. Her face lit up when she saw the treats we had made. But when she took the first bite, her face wrinkled in disgust. I wondered what was wrong with our birthday surprise. I snatched a cookie off the plate and took a bite. Yuck. The cookie wasn't sweet. It was awful. Instantly, I knew what had happened. Instead of sugar, I had used salt. Although the homemade cookies looked delicious, they tasted horrible. Mom and Chloe and me all looked at one another. Then we started laughing uncontrollably. Mom laughed so hard that tears rolled down her cheeks. I learned a couple of things that day. First, if you're going to cook, you need to pay attention to the ingredients. And, to be on the safe side, it's a good idea to take a taste or two along the way. This can save you a lot of embarrassment later. But more important than what I learned about cooking was the lesson I learned about giving. Sometimes it really is the thought that counts. Mom's birthday present didn't turn out as we had planned, but she knew that we loved her. And that's what really matters. Besides, I don't think we would have laughed nearly as hard if our cookies had had been just perfect. That's the end of our story. And again, if you noticed anything wrong with it, you want to write little stars next to wherever you might have noticed a mistake. Question 6. What change, if any, should be made in sentence 4? Okay, So these kinds of questions, what change, if any, should be made in sentence 4? Those are editing questions. They're telling you, look at sentence 4 and see if there is a mistake. So sort of like the sentences we work on in our DLR. They're asking us just to find mistakes. We've also seen questions just like this on our DLR before. Okay? On questions like this, what change, if any, should be made? There are normally 4 types of mistakes they're going to have you look at. Okay? Number 1, they're going to have you look for capitalization mistakes. Maybe they capitalized a word that they shouldn't have, or maybe there's a word that should be capitalized that isn't. They're going to have you look at usage mistakes, which means that they used the wrong word. So we've talked before about like homophones. How you might have one word like red and red, and the homophones sound exactly the same, but we use them completely different. One kind of red talks about like the color, like crayons, and the other kind of red is like what we did with the story. So usage mistakes are, did you use the right word or did you use the wrong word? The third kind of mistake they're going to have you look for is punctuation mistakes. Things like commas, question marks, periods, quotation marks, apostrophes. They're going to have you look at the different marks that they used and see if maybe they used a mark that they shouldn't have, or they should have used a mark and they forgot about it. And the last kind of mistake that they're going to have you look at is spelling mistakes. So really simple. Did you spell the word correctly? Or sorry, did they spell the word correctly? Or do we have to fix it? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and find sentence 4. Sentence 4 is right there. When it was time to add the sugar, I grabbed a canister that was full of something white. Now for these kinds of questions, what change, if any? The best way to answer them or to figure out which one is correct is to go one by one, look at the answer choices, and then try out their mistakes, try out their fixes. If you go back and you try it out and it doesn't fix anything, or even worse, if it makes a mistake, you don't want to pick it. If you go back, you try it out, and it turns out that, yeah, it does fix something, makes the sentence better, then it's a good answer choice. So let's try the first one. Delete the comma. Okay. So here's the comma they're looking at, and they say to delete it. Try it. Now with commas, whenever they're trying to delete or put in commas, I don't like to just read the sentence again, because a lot of times, honestly, when you're reading, you might hear a little bit of a difference with the comma, but commas, sometimes we think, oh yeah, it should go there, it shouldn't. If we just hear them, we need to think about why that comma is going there. Remember, commas are not like decorations. They're not like sprinkles or glitter or anything like that. They're not there just to look good. They have to have a reason to be there. When it was time to add the sugar, comma, I grabbed a canister that was full of something white. This comma needs to be there. The reason why this comma needs to be there is, if I look at the second part of this sentence, I grabbed a canister that was full of something white. That's a complete sentence on its own. But this first part, when it was time to add the sugar, tells me, when did this person do this? Or in this case, Her name is Kelsey. It says here. So this is when Kelsey grabbed the canister. Because the first part of the sentence is telling me when something is happening, or it could tell me where something was happening or why something was happening. If that's how the sentence starts, by telling you where, why, when, how, then you need a comma before they tell you what happened. So getting rid of that comma, deleting it, would not be a very good idea. I'm going to put an X and I'm going to write needs to be there. If the comma needs to be there, I can't just get rid of it. G, changed grabbed to grabbed. This is one of those spelling mistakes. If I look carefully at these two words, how did they change the spelling from the first one to the second one? What did they do? Bella? How did they change the spelling from the first one to the second one? How did they change the spelling, Bella? What did they do? So what did they do to it, Bella? How is this different from this? They put an extra B in it. So the first kind of grabbed has one B. Second kind has two B's. Go back to sentence 4. I'm going to find the word grabbed, and then I'm going to write it the second way on top. We have grabbed and grabbed. And Bella, which one do you think is spelled correctly? The one that's in my sentence with one B, or the other one with two B's? Which is the one that's spelled correctly? If I try to spell grabbed with one B, only one B, then the way you would actually pronounce it is grabbed. But if I add the second B, then it becomes grabbed. So the way that it's spelled here with one B, if it's just grab without the ED ending, then it's okay. But once I try to add the ED ending to it, I need two B's, not just one. So this version of grabbed with one B is not correct. I want the one with two. So answer choice G seems like a pretty good answer. They're taking away the version with 1B and changing it to the version with 2. So I'm going to keep my eyes on that one. Answer choice H, change that to it. So this one is a usage change. They're telling us they're using the wrong word there. We have to change it out for a different word. So next to it, or sorry, I'm going to go find words here. So when it was, oh, change that. It was, okay, that to it. So let's see. We're going to try reading it with the change that they wanted. We'll see if it makes it better or not. When it was time to add the sugar, I grabbed a canister. It was full of something white. Or, When it was time to add the sugar, I grabbed a canister that was full of something white. So we have those two versions. I grabbed a canister, it was full of something white, or I grabbed a canister that was full of something. Jadine, what do you think?
I think it's that because it doesn't really make that much sense.
Okay. When I tried reading it with it, I'll kind of agree with you. I think it made the meaning a little bit harder to understand. So I don't want to use the word it. So next to it, I'm going to write that makes more sense. Or I could write we need to use that. That would also be okay. But either way, I don't want to use the word it. I'm going to get rid of H. J says that no change should be made, that it is okay the way it is. That's not, because I did find a change in answer choice G. That seems pretty good to me. So I'm not going to pick answer choice J. The only time I should pick answer choice J is when I try all my other answer choices and I go, no, I don't like that one. No, I don't like that one. No, I don't like that one. If I can't find any answer choice I like, then I can pick no change. But if I find an answer choice that helps the sentence, that makes it better, or that fixes a mistake, then I want to pick that one. So I want to pick answer choice G. Sentence 7 is a very similar question. What change, if any, should be made in sentence 13? The biggest difference here is that they're asking us to look at a new sentence, which is fine. But the answer choices are going to have the same kinds of changes. They might be capitalization changes, they might be usage changes, they might be punctuation changes, or they might be spelling changes. So let's go find our sentence and let's see what kind of changes we need to make. 13. Here. There's sentence 13. Grinning from ear to ear, we brought our gift to Mom. So let's try the first answer. A says change grinning to grinning. This is a spelling change. They just think that grinning should be spelled differently. How did they change the spelling from the first grinning to the second grinning? What did they do, Jadine?
In the first meaning, they added two N's, and in the second one, they added only one.
Okay, so in the first grinning, there's two N's. Second one, there's only one N. So whenever you're looking at these kinds of questions, the first one they write, the first version, is always going to be the one that is in your story. The second version is the one they want you to change to. I can see that here. They wrote my word grinning with two N's story. So they're saying maybe I should only write it with one N. Jadine, which one do you think is spelled correctly? Grinning with two N's or grinning with one N? Which one would you say is spelled correctly, Jadine?
Grinning with two N's?
Grinning with two N's. It's a lot like the word that we looked at earlier, like grabbed. If I spell grinning with just one N, then it would be grining. If I spell it with two N's, it's grinning. So I don't want to spell grinding, because I don't know what grinding is. But grinning, I know what grinning is. So, no, that's not the way it's spelled. Cross it out. And I'm going to cross out answer choice A. B, change brought to brung. Change brought to brung. So this time it's a usage change. They're telling us that maybe instead of using the word brought, I should use the word brung. Grinning from ear to ear. Here we go. Let's see. Grinning from ear to ear, we brung our gift to mom. Or grinning from ear to ear, we brought our gift. Who can tell me which word sounds better in my sentence? I can read them again. Grinning from ear to ear, we brought our gift to mom. Grinning from ear to ear, we brung our gift to mom. Jaylene, what do you think?
They're using a different kind of R.
They're what?
They're using a different kind of R.
Okay. Which one do you think is better? Is it brung or brought?
Brown.
Or which one do you think? Because we got to pick one.
Brown.
So this is something where we kind of have to be like careful. Brung is a word that people will use when they're talking to each other. When they'll say, "Oh yeah, you know, I brung you this," or something like that. But brung really isn't the way you would say it. Brung would be incorrect here. And even though people might say it, the word that you should use is brought. That would be the correct word. And sometimes because, you know, when we talk to each other, we don't always talk, you know, 100% correctly or use 100% of the right words. Sometimes we use slang, or we just, you know, use words that we've heard before, and brung is kind of like that. Even though you might hear someone say it, it's not actually correct, not the way that it should be. So in this case, I don't want to make that change. I don't want to use the word brung. I want to use the word brought. So I'm actually going to write that note here because, again, that is a word that I've heard a lot of people use before. So I'm going to put brung, not a word. Yes, Jaylene.
I know the answer.
Okay, hang on. So R to R. This is another usage change. They're saying that we're using the wrong word, that this R is wrong and we should use the other one. Let's go see. Here's R. And they want to use this one. Grinning from ear to ear, we brought our gift to mom. Now I noticed something this time with R and R. These are homophones. because they sound pretty much exactly the same. Are and our. Because they sound so similar, people sometimes just use whichever one, but we know that that's not really how it should be because they have different meanings. Jaylene, what does this kind of our mean?
It means like it's our food.
Say that last part again a little bit louder, Jaylene.
It means like if it's our food.
Okay, like if it belongs to us, right? I'm going to write that here. Belongs to us. Who can tell me about this first one? What does this kind of R mean? Jadine?
Yeah.
What does that kind of R mean?
Yeah. Emma, stop. Yeah. Emma. Waiting for you to answer? Yeah. Sorry, I forgot.
Okay, so who can tell me? What does this kind of R mean? Or if you can give me an example of it. Violet?
Here's an example. Are we going to the party tomorrow?
Okay, that's a great example. Are we going to the party tomorrow? This kind of R is like asking about or talking about what you're doing. Like, are you going to the party tomorrow? Or if you
Yes,
said
Mom.
something like, we are sleeping. This kind of R tells about what you're doing. About what someone, oh, sorry, I put someone's, about what someone is doing. Grinning from ear to ear, we brought our gift to Mom. So I need to make a decision. Do I need R, like about what someone's doing, like are they going to the party or are they sleeping? Or is it our, like it belongs to somebody? Jadine?
I think we should use R, like it belongs to us.
Okay. And what belongs to them? What is it that
Their,
belongs to them?
their gift to them.
The gift. Whenever we want to know what belongs to somebody, always just look at the next word. And you're right. The gift belongs to them because they're the ones who made it. So I don't want to use our. I want to use our because the gift belongs to them. They're the ones who made it for the mom. So this one looks like a pretty good change to make. D, no change should be made to sentence 13. And again, I only pick answer choice D, that no change should be made, if I looked at the other 3 answer choices and didn't find the good ones. We did find a good one, so I don't want to pick answer choice D. I want to pick answer choice C.